are willing. And that we're coming together with EkoClimathon 1.0. Why do we try a numeric thing branded 1.0 and all that? It's because from start, one of the everything we do, we're in for the long haul. We will see 2.0. I mean, part of the initiatives is something I talked about 4 years ago. We started the journey of Lagos with tech. We started putting the system, trying to make sure there's conversation between policyholders and all that and tech ecosystem, because we're working at crossroads. This year in December, we're having AOT 4.0 consistently for 4 years. I mean, for the last 4 years. And that's the same thing. We will continue to gather year on year, hopefully, people in the ecosystem to see how we can use technology. And that's the team. Today we are the biggest in civic tech. Most of our initiatives are about fintech initiatives and all that. We're not big on that. We're big on things that help to impact and improve inclusiveness and make our world a better place, and helps economies and help communities to become more livable. And so partnering with one of organizations in our incubation program, EkoCarbon Exchange, EkoCarbon and Commodities, who also are the champions. I think that's the only exchange in West Africa, if my facts serve me right. And the partners who have brought so much color and who believed in what we're doing. And I think they deserve a round of applause. I'm sure we're coming up later. Thank you for believing in us. Even though there was not so much to show, they believed in us. And that's an initiative of UNICEF. An initiative itself, and they will be coming on stage also tell us about their work together to bring this Climathon to you, 1.0. Hopefully, we won't do 2.0 and 3.0 together. We can only make it bigger and better as we get to see the impact, because it's not a jamboree, it's about impact. It's about how do we contribute to solving this problem and making our communities more livable. And we will be coming together to see how we can have this hackathon uncover solutions that can help us. Local solutions that can solve local issues. I mean, there are quite a number of global solutions. Question is, are they adaptable to us? But this initiative is for all solutions that will be solving problems. So quickly, I wanted to create just the context. This is the flow to expect. So we have the walkathon, which is one done with this launch, and I'll tell you about the walkathon, which the job of the walkathon is to take this, and we'll work with them over the next 4 weeks to fine-tune their concepts, fine-tune their ideas, the participants. We will engage them to make sure that they understand what they need to do, what are their ideas about, what are they thinking about, and to be sure that they have the right kind of idea. After we've helped them prove their ideas and improve the global market and we're sure there's a technology add value, they will be making presentation, a big presentation to the pre-selection jurors. So we've gotten together about 30 subject matter experts in the ecosystem. And I'll show you where the partnerships are coming from. And they will help to sift the best 10 ideas that we think can help move the needle a bit in our environment. And that'll be the job of the pre-selection jurors. Is that the end? Absolutely not. We have about 30 international mentors who have worked in this area in the last 20, 30 years. Huge amount of experience. Cumulatively, we're thinking about 1,500 years of experience putting it all together. Who are mentors globally that will be working with the 10 finalists of a month to improve what they have as solutions, to be sure it's adaptable, implementable, realistic, and that will have the kind of impact that we expect. And then we'll have a final pitch session, which will be with the final jurors, which you also find, to select the best 5 initiatives, which of course our partners from UNICEF will all have also given some exciting gifts to be a part of. There'll be cash prizes in there, with $7,500. Brand new laptops are available as initial prizes. But that's not all. Our job in the Eco Innovation Center will be for the next 12 weeks to work and incubate these ideas, to work with the teams, to incorporate them, to launch them out, to make sure they go out there and to begin to impact our world. We'll work with them. We have a cohort from the last hackathon, the week 3. We will work with them to ensure they do raises, get their pre-seeds before we them be able to go on us. And that's the journey. So it's not just the same. This is minimum of 180 days, 6 months journey we will be having with these participants. Okay. And of course, we always have a seed investment of $50,000 as equity investment as pre-seed for all participants. And I think at that point we deserve around about applause. We are putting our money where our mouth is, putting our mouth where our money is, either way, okay? And so we were blown away by the entries. This is by far the highest amount of entries we got. I mean, at the time, my team called me and started getting jittery. It's something like where I was just in context. 1,034 participants, by far the largest amount of entries we've seen. The topic doesn't look exciting, and I know we all love fintech and we love robotics and all that. So when you say climate change, I mean, we have quite a number of people who are living in denial. So we didn't expect we were thinking of 200 people. 1,034, 105 locations. And they're there: Pakistan, Australia, Germany, London, Libya, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia, and almost all the states of Nigeria represented. 105 locations, 11 countries, and 3 continents. And we split the teams into the 6 focus areas. Transportation is a heavy contributor to gases in Nigeria. Agriculture, I've mentioned that earlier, is a major contributor. People, as they registered, had signified the sector where they thought their solution would be relevant. Okay, so we've seen agriculture, we've seen the industry, massive emission. Are they talking carbon offsetting? What are they doing to improve their processes to begin to move towards carbon neutral? Do we have a solution that can allow them to see their carbon footprint so that they can even begin to work towards ameliorating that and moving towards the carbon neutral? We see nature-based solutions, 46 entries, and circular economy, which I find that very exciting. We've got about 44 of the teams. Do remember these are teams. So with the 1,038 have been divided into teams of 5 and 4 for them to work together. Many of them have never met each other, but that's the beauty of hackathon. We will see how we get companies out of participants who have come together across the country. And we're excited about the partnership we get every time. It gives us the drive and to keep going out there, to want to do more and more. So we have 30 selection jurors, we have 10 speakers you'll find today in the finals, and we have 7 final jurors committed. And you can see quite a number of corporates. So when we talk about industry, those industries are not just saying, oh, you do the hack, we're not part of it. We have their speakers in and they'll be introduced in a few minutes. Okay, representative of organizations who have giving us their goodwill, giving us the support. I mean, from the banking industry, because hey, we're all on this earth, and if we're making a living and economics from the planet Earth, we should be mindful of what we're doing there. So on this note, I want to say thank you for honoring the invite to come in. And to all the teams and participants online, again, I say, let the hack begin. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'll try to be stricter, but I need to correct my balance. So that's why I make a little exception. It'll be so good to see more people here in the room. Welcome once again to the launch of EkoClimathon 1.0. We had spoken about UNICEF and the cash prize of $7,500. Laptops, the hand holding. And I thought that the whole hall would erupt in a round of applause. Do I need to mention it again? I mean, let's tell ourselves the truth. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, we go online and we're looking for opportunities, and there is quite a lot of investment in green energy. But many times we're not able to articulate ourselves properly to be able to access this investment. Other times, the funding available, you need to have a minimum viable product So the fact that whether or not you win, actually develop something from this hackathon that will put you in a position to even access funds internationally. I think that's a good place to really applaud what UNICEF is doing. So we've spoken about UNICEF. I think it's now time to hear directly from UNICEF, and we do have the pleasure of having one of the very important people in UNICEF. She is the Chief Field Office, UNICEF Nigeria, and Generation Unlimited lead. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't fall my hand. But when I say we give a warm rounding round of applause, I mean, don't worry, I'll tell you when. Just prepare your hands because these are the people today possible. Please join me in applauding La Fouquier.
Good morning, everyone, and hello to everybody here in the room and online as well. A big thank you to Victor for the very inspiring presentation, and a big thank you to Victor as a partner. We are honored to be partnering with Eco Innovation Center, and this looks extremely promising. My name is Celine Lafitte. As Isabella has mentioned, I'm the chief of the UNICEF Field Office in Lagos and the lead for Genu Niger nationwide, the secretary. What does that mean? Generation Unlimited Nigeria. It's basically a public-private youth partnership that aims at crowding in all the partners that have a passion and one drive, which is to support youth between 10. Normally we say to 24, but in Nigeria we go a little bit higher than that, up to 30, to basically, very simply, in a nutshell, transition from any kind of learning to any kind of earning. Of course, this is spearheaded by UNICEF, so one of our main mandate is that no one is left behind, so we're looking at the very most vulnerable, but we're looking at mind-blowing number of young people under in Nigeria, which is, if I'm not mistaken, is about 100 million. Mind-blowing, yet a wonderful opportunity to do this, to do many other things. Because if we gather together, if young people seize their future and actually make this opportunity their opportunity to be part of the solution, rather than being part of the problem, because we intervention, we have all the chances in the world to make this work and change Nigeria the way Nigeria will tomorrow, in terms of society, but also in terms of economy. So let me just tell you a few words about Genu Niger. So Genu Niger is basically looking at three main areas of work with all of our partners, including Eco Innovation Center. We're looking at the youth of this country is connected to the internet, very important, without which nothing much will happen. That they have access, that you have access to digital learning, that you have access to workplace readiness skills and livelihood opportunities, and that your voice is heard through youth engagement and challenges, like the one we're organizing today. We're looking at impacting and not interested in rich anymore, but impacting young people impacting 20 million young people by 2030. So simple math, that means 2.5 million in Nigeria every year, and we're on the road to success. What Genu brings to you as a young person is a very important digital platform called YOMA, Y-O-M-A. I'm sure the tech people in this room will probably be kind enough to make sure that the link is provided to you. YOMA.Africa, please register. This is free of charge. This is a very exciting digital platform on which all of our partners launch their free offers for any kind of skills you might need, you may want to simply skill, you may want to skill up, upskill, whatever you want to call it. We have exciting partners such as Microsoft, Google, PwC, Joberman, many, which I won't bore you with, but please visit YOMA. This is your chance to change your future with seizing the opportunities online to those free skills, free challenges, and livelihood opportunities. ranges from volunteering experiences to actual job placement. So what I want to say today is you are all innovators in the making, and you are all potential winners of this very exciting. So we'll be watching closely. Once again, thank you to Victor. Ambition. The ambition is massive. Sorry, I'm not as techy as you standing up here, but I promise to step up my game. So a huge thank you to Victor and the Eco Innovation Center. We'll be watching closely, and I'm sure this is only the first one of many, many more. So best of luck to all the challengers, and see you soon.
I think we can do better than that. So once again, I would like to acknowledge the people who have made today possible by their generous contribution, either in cash, in kind, resources, of their time, of their intellect. So please, another warm round of applause for Celine Lafoucriere, Chief of Field Office, UNICEF Nigeria, and Generation Lead. We also have some more members of the UNICEF team. Please, could you stand for recognition? We have Johannes Polis, and we also have Thank you very much for the partnership. And also, please put your hands together for the Chief Executive Officer of A4IT Power Solutions. From the Hurricane Company, Nigeria Breweries PLC, we have the Sustainability and CSR Manager in the person of Annabelle Umoetu. A warm round of applause for her. Next to also acknowledge, we have the Sustainability Stakeholder Engagement Report and Communications at Access Bank. Everybody has come here again. I think it's maybe we're all preparing for Monday and Tuesday. That's why rain and the traffic and the fuel scarcity. So a big warm round of applause for the next person. I'm going to on Olumiwa Majekoduni, and founder Lekki Urban and Animal Shelter. One round of applause. And finally, I believe we have the Special Advisor on Innovation and Technology to the Governor of Lagos State joining us virtually. So you can see here the applause, Mr. Tumoso Alake. On the screen, thank you for your constant support, because there's only so much you can do in the private sector. If you don't have government on your side, you will be limited. I'm sure we'll get to the screen at some point. Now, the reason why we're here, in 2 minutes, I'm going to be very short this time.
Apologies, Celine.
So, apologies, we'll have a quick picture. So, all our invited speakers, if you could just come on stage, we'll have a quick group picture. Are we okay with the backdrop? Can we move the one at the back?
This is good.
As we move the is this okay?
Sorry.
And our photographers in the house are also welcome to get some pictures, so you can post and share. All these today, have a chance to listen to them, to learn from them.
Hello, bend down, please. Bend down. Bend down.
Backdrop.
Wow.
Again, it's EkoClimathon 1.0.
Bend down.
I think it looks better with some green. You can't talk about the environment and not have some green in there. It's all about that green energy, green economy, uh, green oil.
Are you okay?
Should they say green at the count of three? I think that will bring out the team. 1, 2, 3, green.
Okay, are you ready? 1, 2, 3. So I have a picture.
1, 2, 3, green.
Thank you.
The great thing about technology is that Celine will still be able to access the recording after her meeting and find out all here today. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation, and again, apologies from the late start. That being said, we're going to move swiftly on. The reason why we're here today is who are going to take part in the hackathon. So we're talking about the cohort. I know we're all excited to meet the cohort, so everyone here, but there's a video presentation that has been due where we unveil the cohort, and we're unveiling the that will be uncovering the future of climate change technology. Very quickly, can we have the lights dimmed and the video cued and played? Let's all settle on. The event is still continuing. We still have our audience online who have tuned in. So the multimedia.
Substantial changes in greenhouse gas emissions down. We are to large increases in the planet's temperature. You hear a lot about the progress in reducing the cost of renewable energy to make electricity, but generating electricity isn't the only contributor to climate change. It accounts for only about 25% of all greenhouse gas emissions. With greenhouse gases, you have the electricity sector. You also have manufacturing, transportation, agriculture, as well as industrial services. We need to going out there and finding inventors across all these areas and understanding their energy R&D activities, doing running laboratories, scaling up to very large numbers for electricity. Wind energy and solar energy, the prices are coming down. So the electricity sector has to either be energy or have other zero emission sources to maintain the reliability that we all depend on manufacturing. Here we're talking about all the stuff we buy, furniture, beds, cars themselves, all of those. It's the very process of making cement is CO2 emitting. There's a lot of injection, we'll have to change the way that we do that manufacturing. Transportation, immediately people think about passenger cars, and they are a big part of that. But transportation is quite broad. We've got railroads, we've got ships, we've got planes, and so every one of those has to get to zero. Agriculture. This is categories often people forget about. Cows actually emit methane, which is one of the more powerful greenhouse gases. And so inventions like artificial meat may have to play a role here. Building this. We need to invent different processes in order to get the energy use of running all these buildings down, way down to zero. The path to success is going to require innovation on these sectors. So it is quite daunting During this century, we not only need to do these things, we actually need to deploy them at massive, massive scale. But in my experience, innovation can do magical things. Practically, billions of people who are least responsible for greenhouse gas emissions will suffer the most from climate.
Watch the video. I hope the sound so that we're able to follow what we do and work on.
Without substantial change in the greenhouse gas emissions. Reducing the cost, generating electricity isn't going to change. It accounts for only about 65% of greenhouse gas emissions. The greenhouse gases, you have the electricity sector. But you also have manufacturing, transportation, agriculture, buildings, as well as about 10% from other sources. We need innovation going out and finding inventors across all these different areas and understanding their energy R&D activities to make sure that they have a path from their laboratory to scaling up in very large numbers for electricity. Wind and solar energy prices are coming down. So the electricity sector has to either be able to store that energy or have other zero-emission sources to maintain the reliability that we all depend on manufacturing. Here, we're talking about all the stuff we want, the cars themselves, all of those things. Just the very process of making cement is forbidden. There's a lot of competitive energy, and we'll have to choose the way that we do that manufacturing. Transportation, immediately people think about passenger cars, and they are a big part of that. But transportation is quite broad. We've got railroads, we've got ships, planes, get to zero emission, agriculture. This is a category that often people forget about. Cows actually emit quite a bit of methane, which is one of the more powerful greenhouse gases. And so inventions like artificial meat may have to play a role here. Buildings. We need to have different processes in order to get the energy used to bring all these buildings way down to zero. The path to success is going to require innovation across every one of these sectors. So it is quite daunting. During this century, we not only need to invent all of these things, we actually need to play them at massive scale. But in my experience, innovation can do magical things.
I think we all enjoyed that video and it was a lot to think about. I think when we think about this green energy, low carbon emission, one big word that always comes up is sustainability. It's important that whatever solutions, however innovative they are, they need to be sustainable and be able to scale so that we're able to achieve those targets very quickly. So next, we're going to have our first keynote. We have two keynote presentations. We have another video coming up, a fireside chat. But again, I'm doing my possible best to ensure that we leave on time, at least in time for lunch. So please join me in welcoming from Sustainability Stakeholder Engagement and Access Bank. A warm round of applause for Mofifoluwa Olawumi, who will be delivering our first keynote. I don't know who that applause was for. It's my Olawumi. Thanks, bank. Whatever green thing we are doing, you know we need money, and money is in the bank. So please give her another warm round of applause.
It's a full house. I would pray the indulgence because I'm not an expert speaker like Lily was that. So I have some notes on my phone. So allow me. So thank you. Good morning to everyone. Allow me to manage sustainability for the reporting engagement, everything that has to do with sustainability management for a large corporate, particularly the bank. And it's my pleasure and honor to be here. I must commend the organizers of this. I'm always saying that technology are the future, and this is just right at the intersection of that. So, there's no better time than now. EkoClimathon 1.0. So, if I ask that you put your hands together for yourself, the will call you. I'd like to say congratulations, because it takes a lot of braveness and boldness to do what you're doing. The space is very dynamic, things constantly changing. So, what you're doing has shown you have passion and you know that you have value to add to your country, to the society at large. And don't be, no one is an expert, we're all just figuring it out. So, it takes you to be on top of the news, be on top of the trends, regulations, and know what it means for you, know what it means for your business, know what it means for you as an individual. Do your part, and you do it well. People are watching to support you, people are watching to encourage you, people are watching to invest in you, and those opportunities are there. So just be open-minded, be ready to soak everything in, soak up your experience from here, you're going to do your network, and well done, I wish you the best of luck. So I'll just jump quickly into this. The topic is decoupling and divesting for sustainability. And they gave me a couple of things to touch on. So the difference between decoupling and divestment, business and sustainability, the impact of sustainable innovations on financial performance, climate tech innovations for the business of the future. So as we all know, I think we all have an idea of what sustainable development means by now. Over the years, development was largely focused on economic growth at the detriment of the environment and the society. So at the detriment of natural resources and human resources like you, our culture, people. And since 1970, there has been a steady decline in available natural resource, and that's still on the rise, even with awareness and even with this conversation on the need to do things more sustainably. And so the exploitation of natural resources is no longer necessary to achieve growth, because we have sustainable technologies coming up that are affordable, abundant, efficient, accessible, easy. And we must continue to put resources at the center of climate policies if we're to reach the international sustainability targets. Investments in development should consider give greater consideration to the fact that resources must be used more efficiently. Now, what's decoupling? It's a broad term, but in the context that we're speaking, eco-environmental, it's striving for economic growth without creating corresponding environmental impacts, costs, or demand. Right? From my understanding, typically used for nations, and when you're talking in terms of GDP, and the ongoing shifts to green energy that contributes to reducing decoupling. Now, there's an argument for and against the feasibility of decoupling to deliver sustainable benefits. And I'm going to quickly read something out to you. It says alternative measures of economic welfare should be used to replace the emphasis on GDP. Now, there are calls for a shift of focus towards access to economic benefits, with a preservation of natural capital as a key concern. People are saying that the health of the environment should be encompassed within a reformed GDP framework. So, for example, if you plant a forest, that counts as an investment in environmental capital. And if you pollute the Great Barrier, that takes away from it. However, while this sounds very brilliant in theory, there are arguments about how practical it is, how we want to reform or replace GDP. And so these conversations, I presume, will be going on for a long time. But what I like to think is, the nomenclature keeps changing, these things keep changing. Like I said, we're all figuring it out. So just focus on the concept of it. The goal is to be good. On the other hand, we have divestment. Now, it's business commitment to pull assets and capital investment from non-sustainable sectors, like fossil fuel companies. Now, since 2015, businesses have been taking more ownership of their role their role in contributing to sustainable development. And since 2018, people have been talking a lot about divesting, and that's largely due to the pressure, regulations like the EU, and various ESG guiding principles. Now, this has led to a lot of public commitments and targets, things like net zero, and things like the principles for responsible banking, etc. Before I go forward, I would like to ask you a quick question. It's not really whether it's like. So our president made a commitment at COP26 last year that we would reach net zero by 2060. Can we have a quick show of hands if you think that we're on the right path to reach net zero? That's 38 years. Are we on the right path?
No.
No, raise your hand now. So that's the thing. Right now we're in path, but what I think is with things like this, you and I have we can't wait for them to do everything. We have to start doing things like this. And the steps you take, like I said, people are watching. The steps you take can influence quality. The steps you take can influence regulation. Do your thing and do it properly. That's all that influence that we have. Many businesses are taking action. We see that across the globe, that in Nigeria as well. So business and sustainability, again, I don't want to overflow the issue. Businesses are trying to ensure that they balance economic growth with environmental and social responsibility, which was not the case in the past. But right now we see that it makes sense. Like Isabella said, there's no point if there's no planet. That's just the truth. So more and more business leaders are finding out that if they don't do things more sustainably, you don't green their operations and green their strategy, you're really just going in circles. You're not going to achieve anything. So the world is changing, and business of the future are those focused on transitioning in line with global goals. ESG, which is environmental, social, and governance, should be a common practice for everyone. And so the world has had various phases of development over the past few centuries. I think that the current sustainability movement is the era that we're in now. That's the truth. When we talk about sustainability, innovation, and financial performance, so the first diagram at the top just shows the process, right? The input, the process, and the output. You're considering things like your business strategy, you're considering things like your operations, you're considering things like your internal settings, your people, the things that make you who you are as a business. And then those are the things that form your eco-innovation capability, right? And through, the several processes, you do stakeholder engagement, you discuss, you brainstorm and figure it out, and you create sustainability-driven innovation practices, which are reflected in your process, in your product, and in your organization as a whole. On the other hand, it's just showing that the result and the intensity of the innovations that you do at a business level has a substantial effect on your country and on a global level. So no matter how small the step you think you're taking is, it has an effect on the world. So green innovation and corporate financial performance have a linear relationship. Eco innovation drives resource efficiencies and overall improves the bottom line for businesses. Because it incorporates technological improvements that save energy, prevent pollution, or any, etc. Now, planning tech innovation for the future. Two diagrams here. The first one is showing how for 2022 they classified categories of planning tech. And I left the examples there if you want to check them out later. Those are some of the businesses that fit into those segments. So you have things like clean energy, you have smart agriculture, you have things like mobility, which is transportation, you have the economy, low carbon manufacturing, land and water management, building management, carbon data analytics, and carbon actual usage and storage, which is a very big deal. I know we're all well aware of what data means to the world right now. So there's a very massive opportunity in those spaces, especially as it relates to carbon and climate. As I said, this is the era of climate innovation. We need to transform the entire systems collaboratively. Again, one segment can't do it alone, the government can't do it alone, the private sector can't do it alone, civil society can't do it alone. Even within yourselves as climate tech startups, we need to work together as a collaborative process. And that's why it is literally standing alone goal of the SDGs partnerships at various levels across various sectors. Inclusion and equity must be at the heart of climate action. So you're not exempt, right? As I said, sustainable development is creating a balance, creating the right balance between economic growth, environmental benefits, and social benefits. Now, you can't be focused on adding value to the economy and to the environment and not give consideration to the society. So ensure that these things are reflected in your business to ensure that you're truly a solution provider. That's something to think about as you go into the ClimathOn, that whatever you come up with reflects these three parameters that provide sustainable development. Good policy drives innovation, we know that. But as I said, on the other hand of the scale, you also as a change maker can influence policy. So let's not wait for them to take action. You can take action and then, influence this change. Climate tech investment is booming. It is booming, as you can see. Since you have access to so much that people are waiting. There's so many investors that are waiting to do the right thing. They're just waiting to see like the viable business that they can put their funds in. That's where you come in. The opportunity is there. That's why I said you're very brave, you're very bold. And one of the things that, so I listen to a lot of podcasts, and right now I listen to a lot of startups. The founders always say that when they started, it's not necessarily where they are now. A lot of them tried inside. They had A to try and they started with product A, product B, product C, and they found their space in a small subset of product C. You have to realize to add, so that's just something to note. So according to this McKinsey, there are 5 groups of technologies that could attract about $2 trillion of capital by 2025, and then pay about 40% for greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. These are electrification, agriculture, power, hydrogen, and carbon capture. It also shows the investment per segment and the CO2 allocated per year for each of those segments. So I don't know where you are going to detail that. In summary, reflective of what everyone has said, there are some key things that you need to look out for in your space that will influence you and that influence the outcome of your experience in this program and the outcome of or the output you create, so the business of the products you put out. Things like government policy, your technologies, you're creating that. Sustainable financing, capacity building. You're going through this program and you're going to have the opportunity for a lot of capacity building. You also need to do a lot of being. Like I said, it's a very dynamic space. You need to be on top of this news and understand what you need for you. Partnerships, models built around circular economy, consumer behavior, etc. Energy transition is one of the biggest business opportunities we have today. So as climate continues to propel innovation, we can reinvent business models, disrupt the status quo, and drive solutions at scale. Ultimately, we are the change makers. Thank you.
Something that kept recurring as I was listening to that presentation, which is the fact that everybody is responsible, every single person. We can't wait for government alone. I didn't put up my hand. In fact, nobody in the room put up their hands. That we all have that individual burden to ensure that we're all playing our part in ensuring that we can live in a more sustainable way. And she kept commending your bravery, really well done in taking part. A lot of times when you see these things, they don't have the buzz like maybe fintech or martech and all these really more popular ones. But to see that the climate tech and green tech is now making a real back on the stage in sense of the tech partners are coming in. I think it's worthy of commendation. So let's put our hands again together for government to do everything. Thank you very much for that presentation. I know a lot of us were encouraged with taking notes. And when we see a bank in sustainability, it says a lot, because when you think about sustainability, you only think about green companies. But banks and other organizations can actually set the tone, and they're ensuring that they are sustainable in different ways and affect your policies. And it's also good to know that when they have these big ideas and they come knocking at the door of Access Bank, they will also be treated with the fair airing and also have those opportunity for funding. So we're going to move to our fireside chat, and after that we'll have an opportunity for Q&A. So in case we have questions, let's just ensure that we keep them and to the point, and also to the people who are joining us virtually, we will be taking questions from the virtual audience. So at this point, I'd like if the stage manager can help with setting up the chairs on stage. I'm going to invite our panelists. We have two speakers for the fireside chat, and we have a moderator. But by a show of hands, have we been learning today? Yes. Have we? The response. Have we been learning today? Are we encouraged? Are we on the right path? Yes, it's very, very crucial. We all come here and leave with something, no matter how small it is, to ensure that we can all play our part, even when we leave this place. So I believe the stage is set now. So again, if you're busy maybe tweeting and uploading your status, just put your phones down so you can warmly applaud the people who are going to be calling up. So first we have from A4&T Power Solutions, the Chief Executive Officer, in the person of Mr. David. Next we have Annabelle Umoetuk, Sustainability and CSR Manager, the Heineken Company, Nigerian Breweries PLC. A warm round of applause for her. Like I said, it's always good to see, the FMCGs involved in sustainability, in the way they run their businesses to ensure that they are green and they are sustainable. And to do the moderation, he's not here, he had to leave, but nonetheless, he will be present as a part, and they will be moderating. So we have from UNICEF, you report program specialist for Generation on in Nigeria. Please put your hands together for Anne. So we have 20 minutes for this fireside, and then we'll have about 10-15 minutes for questions here as well as virtually. So I'll say your time starts now.
Good morning, for being here. My name is Anne. I'm a report program specialist. This challenge is pretty exciting for us because our team is in terms of doing this. And as you know, with the UN, the SDGs 30 is on climate action, and the goal 17 as well as partnerships and innovation. So, ClimathOn is going in a different direction. It was not as boring as it used to be, right? There are companies and what they need to do. And I've read something more. So talking about sustainability management, sustainability management is approach to the industry. So the first thing is, how can the industry embrace smarter sustainable innovation?
Okay, to address that, first of all, go into why. Because I mean, if you don't know why, I don't think we can really talk about how. So first, why is innovation basically aids growth. Number one, it also ensures that as a business you remain relevant. And I'll cite an example in Nigerian breweries. In the 80s, there was a ban on importation of grain, precisely barley. It is not grown in Nigeria. Somehow, Nigerian breweries had to innovate around that ban and continue producing drinks that had the same taste without barley. If there was no innovation, the business would be dead by now. So innovation is important to keep your business alive. As to how, I believe businesses should focus on the fact that innovation will change. What was termed as innovation in the 90s is definitely not innovation now. And it's definitely not what we know as innovation in, let's say, 20 years. It's changed. You have to, keep your eyes. How can you apply it to whatever it is that you're doing? And also, you have to think of what your everybody is very, or that, let me say, mental and social awareness is at a high right now. Customers are environment-centric, social-centric. They want to know what you're doing. How are you meeting that demand? Another point would be making metric-driven decisions. What is saying? You can't just innovate on the whim and then you end up doing it. So, how are you? I'd say how are you using your inputs or what you are currently doing to innovate? How are you making your processes better? How are you making better outputs for you that will even draw customers and more clients to your products? You can't just innovate off the whim. And lastly, I'd say it's important to embrace change. We've seen situations where companies that change end up, dying and losing their market share. Case in point, Nokia. They really couldn't innovate, and now they're really no.
Thank you. Your companies as regards change. So now there's the opportunity for us to act with tech. Has there been any kind of discussions with the high-level people to see how that innovation will improve current structures within the organization?
Definitely. We currently have things in case, and we're constantly reviewing and reevaluating the processes to see how we can innovate to have better outcomes. And by better outcomes, I mean get to energy consumption, emissions, and all of that. As a company, we have a 2025 goal to go on to have net zero emissions from our electricity generation, and 2040 goal to have net zero carbon emissions from our value chain. So we have already started with installing solar plants in our Ibadan brewery, and very recently we signed a power purchase agreement to supply 100% renewable energy to our two breweries in Kaduna, and there's a lot more that is going on. So we already have plans in place to very have remove carbon from our value chain and do the right thing. We're committed to be responsible.
That's amazing. So I grew up in Bariga. I don't think I was restricted, but I'm not restricted. I grew up in Bariga for the longest time. I know a lot of times when I come out and I roam around Lagos, it's disastrous. There's plastic everywhere. A lot of times it's disastrous. Same goes for climate change, right? If you don't want to see that people, you have to. If you don't want to see that, no shade. it has to start with. And I'm very excited that this conversation was opened up. So, Mr. Ayobi, at the moment you are the CEO of AT&T, and I know that if one team, apologies. And I know that they are very interested to solar energy and all of that. But aside from that, what are the other things that that goes on at high level with your organization in regards to climate change?
Thank you. We have to we are climate ambassadors from the climate ambassador perspective, and I'm excited to be here to see a lot of people, young people innovating stuff about climate. And prepared to say that there is a need for knowledge first before you can innovate. So, in coming here, some of the things that are on the mind was, okay, let me help illuminate the idea around the climate change, which will help you to birth innovations. If you do not know how to approach it, you won't be able to write any innovation out or design anything about it. So I'm going to start, from the beginning, then to now come answer your question. So now, for climate change, what is climate change? Climate change is a long-term shift in temperature and weather platforms and patterns. 1800, human activities have been the main driver of this climate change. It's been burning fossil fuel. So when you hear fossil fuel, because even in the you need to understand that we use in the climate change world. So fossil fuels are talking about diesel, petrol, and all those other stuff. So since men began to burn coal to get energy, began to get energy, diesel and all that, we began to release a lot of emission into the atmosphere. So that's the start of the climate change, and that began to give us a bad effect on the greenhouse. So that's another big one. And we need to really know what the greenhouse is. Greenhouse is the process whereby the sun, of course, shines light on the earth. When the sun shines light on the earth, you have heat on the earth. It bounces off from the sea and other platforms, to warm the earth moderately as it should be. Then it's supposed to go back out into the space. But because we're producing a lot of greenhouse gases, which is coming from the smokes of the generator, the CO2, and all the other kinds of greenhouse gases, these gases trap those things from getting back into space. So as the greenhouse gases trap them, they release them back into the earth to increase the global warming that was moderate. Do we get it now? So as it's really way ever before, the earth dried up, lake chart dropped, everything happened because the global warming percentage has actually moved up because of the greenhouse. So now, in line with that, it's now a need to come in with sustainable energy, climate mitigants. The world's response to it is all about climate change adaptation processes of mitigants. After these are processes that we put in place to just restrict that thing from continuing. For example, building barricades to oceans from overflowing, you understand. There's some adaptation procedures. But you have mitigants, which is having sustainable energy replace those emissions into the air as greenhouse gas. That's going to be now coming. So that's why it's not that as an organization we do not do, it's not about solar, it's about climate change mitigants. So, climate change, solar, you have the biomass, you have the hydro, you have the thermal, So all of energies are what we call sustainable energy, because energy for us right now potential of providing for the future. If an energy cannot provide for what we need now, and also give us the potential to provide for the future, it does not qualify defined as a sustainable energy. So from our organization at EkoT, what we do is we deal in climate change mitigating energies through renewable energy, replacing the diesel generators with solar, with biomass, with all those types of energies that now find a way to replace all the energies that are given us by greenhouse gases. Now, the plan is, and of course, I think how all of us have been hearing net zero. And I'm touching on all those because I know for most of our developers that are here, as we're developing those applications, doing those tech stuff, you need to really know which one of them you want to attack. I mean, I love the presentation from Mofifoluwa, right? Artist. I didn't have to snap a particular presentation, which was the presentation I was talking about how much the world is pushing into technology that is across. And I find out about the list. I don't know, the list that I saw was in carbon. And if I were to be a tech person that does innovation, that's what I'm going to start from. The biggest, electricity, from what she showed us. The next, don't mind me, I like to listen when they're showing, because it's when you listen, you can use it in the future. So, I saw electricity, I saw agriculture, I saw but I saw that the last one was carbon capture. Which means, if someone starts from there, there are few in the world, and you can learn a lot. So from what we do is, so I wanted to talk about net zero as a problem. So net zero is that the whole world comes together to say, hey, we want to do our best to ensure zero emission by 2050. So either we're doing it by mitigation or we're doing it by adaptation, we want to ensure, we want to transit to net zero by 2050. And our organization is committed to that, and that's what we're doing big about the climate change through building of mini grid power plants, to power towns. We have 9 times the power in Nigeria right now under the license of the federal government, using grid power plants, which are decentralized power plants, generating and distributing within the towns. We also distribute solar pump systems for communities that cannot have those. We also power organizations, bank branches, so that they're using those stuffs that's releasing our gases into the air. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I was asked how I think key areas that we want young people to focus on in their creative solutions, but I talked about already.
Can I add one? I think a question, important. I think it will have that. So from experience in practically, we've seen applications in software across mitigation that measures the weather, but we've not had much. Because you need to have a projective and forecast the weather to drive, the amount to say that, half of month, we will have only this irradiation of solar. So if we can forecast more, for all those kinds through tech, makes a lot of sense. Democratized electricity distribution via blockchain. So if we have points, we can kill energy through. Do well.
I hope you participated. In my days, we call it AOC, area of concentration. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So I'm an activist for young people, right? A lot of people who know me know that. And I mean, when I was growing up, they said we are leaders of tomorrow. Tomorrow will not reach, So my question now is, how are we actively integrating the voices of young people when it comes to climate change within the different industries? I know that you work in the Nigerian railway space, FMC. From your department, when it comes to sustainable energy, and young people's voices integrated.
That is a tough question to answer. But I'd say definitely the young people are taking into consideration. When I was speaking earlier, I spoke about consumer preferences, although I think directly to what we do at Nigerian Breweries. Being that we make a large range of beverages, definitely we do take younger people into account. And we are also conscious of the fact that our actions or inactions or missteps could also lose, could also lead to us losing, let's say, goodwill we have from people. And now in terms of, let's say, innovation or solving climate change issues, we involve young people various ways. Very recently, we had we participated in Circular Lagos. It was like an innovation lab, and asked people to come up with solutions on how we can repurpose our waste paper. Actually, had someone who came up with something really innovative. He uses waste paper to make some form of lens for the camera. There's someone else that works with our waste paper labels to make ceiling boards. So we actually actively participate in those kind of spaces. We're founding members of the Food and Beverage Recycling Alliance that was very, and also is awareness on recycling concept, circular economy in various places, Delta, in school, in communities. Yes, in different ways we get to involve young people, and we're listening to listen to what they want to expect, and we're also putting it into action in diverse ways.
So thank you. So we know how quickly tech just came and just overcame, right? We envision that kind of future for climate change.
Yeah, I think so. I think we will be able to for carbon in the democracy. If we need to a way to so that individuals and corporates and everybody can just go on their hand and do their carbon. Anybody could try to do that. Yeah, it's going to be. And if you are able to do that, you can collaborate with platform carbon
That's also think about setting your carbon for so that's where innovation comes in, where you turn problem into opportunity. So we have about 10 minutes for the Q&A. Do we have any questions here? If you have a question, please introduce yourself, your name, you, your question, and it's a specific place, so it's both panelists or the moderator. So we'll start with questions and then we'll move to any question.
I simply follow the existing protocol. Thank you so much. My name is Abiodun Paladmati, Right Edge Nigeria Limited. And we produce a collection of 3D panels for walls, ceiling, and then looking for also produce green cement. So my questions are to both of you. So we'd like to, for example, see how it's been. Good. And then Nigerian breweries, because we have a plethora of materials that we could use to make, for example, binders without using the ordinary Portland cement. And so I won't bore you with the effect of that because you already know the contribution of cement to climate change. I think next to water, cement is the most consumed thing on earth. So if Nigeria can begin to think in that direction, and interestingly, it's just about taking advantage of the materials around us, because trap them trap the carbon dioxide using the chemistry that is anything you can see you waste in our environment, not just about plastics. What about the artisanal waste that you see from the panel beater? Or you go to Ketu, you see a lot of agricultural waste. All those could be turned into things that we could use. So we'd like to, from A.
Do you have any more questions? Thank you very much for your question. I just want to take all the questions first and then we'll. You have a question because they only have 10 minutes. Okay.
My name is Owen Russell. So, we actually encourage startups, small startups who want to do something, support innovation. Okay, so thanks to Nigerian Youth, I was very thankful to its use, and I'm also very happy as well. But my challenge here is, it seems some of those things are actually when it comes to sustainability, most organizations just want to take the boxes, and not be committed to. I'm committed to what you're all doing. I'm going to ask a question. So, my point is, can we see more organizations, especially like big banks, actually do set aside? It's just a fraction of the percentage, to encourage people to think, so think about the climate, think about what we can do in Lagos before the level comes.
Thank you very much. So those questions for the new panelists, right? And there's one at the back. I think we'll be able to squeeze in the 3 questions.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeremiah. I write for Impact Reports Africa and Brand Communication. No idea. Hacking climate change with tech. I don't know how to say I'm beyond wow because I understand what this means to the future generations. Sustainability is mostly about now and the future. To the organizers, is this something that is continuous? Is this something that you can maintain? I want to also know if there are brands also coming with you on this journey. The Nestle's, the Coca-Cola's, the Pepsi's, the FMCG brands, they mostly contribute to a lot of plastic waste we have. Is Unilever coming on board? What is Unilever doing beyond help with innovation?
So I believe that question is more to the organizers in terms of partnerships, right? I think there was a slide that showed the wealth of experience coming into EkoClimathon 1.0, so maybe that slide can be made available again. We'll try to get maybe a word or two from Mr. Folabi, but let's move over to our panelists so we can have 10 minutes to have added more minutes, like 30 minutes from the questions. I think it's important that our panelists have us to respond.
So I'll start with this question. So I would say it's an unfair statement to say that the FMCGs and the banks are really not doing anything as regards sustainability. There is a lot that is actually going on in that space, and I'm actually seeing as a former consultant, so I know from the consulting industry. So I need to, see people in different spaces are actually putting in a lot of effort. Can efforts be magnified better? I would say yes, definitely. But people idly and just allow things to happen. ND, we have a strategy, and our sustainability strategy is tailored to the topics that are material to us as a brewing company, which is what should be, because a bank cannot carry out consumption and caring about, particulate matter when really it's not a core topic to. So yes, we have sustainability because 95% of our products are water. It covers alcohol consumption, being that we're supposed to promote the moderation of alcohol consumption, provide choices, that's non-alcoholic beverage choices. We're also supposed to address the harmful use of alcohol. We're supposed to be inclusive and promote diversity. We're also supposed to have a fair and safe working environment. And most importantly, community impact. We should give back to communities within which we operate. And we do that. We follow this strategy to the T. If I'm going to be very honest, to the T. We follow the strategy to the T. And of course, there will always be room for improvement, but it's not that resting idea doing nothing. So I think that answers.
Thank you very much. So I think maybe the final thing
Okay, so I would just like to say, maybe we need to do more in terms of awareness. But there's a lot going on. Like I said, it's two-way street, right? There are the people ready to invest, and then there's market. Are you ready to invest? Where business first, there is a need to look out for. There's risks, there's profitability, etc. Things that we need to look out for. First, focus on making yourself ready for investment. And people out there will see you. I'm not sure if you're aware, in 2019, the bank issued its first green bond, which was the first in Nigeria. It remains the only one. What does that say? The market is not ready. It wasn't easy for us. Being a first mover is very difficult. That's the honest truth. That we had to do a lot of things. We had to, even the technical know-how, it also was from, other parts of Africa and other parts of the world. But let's not do that. There's still capacity, competence of the states that it's not a mature market. So we can't entirely give everything to it, but we're working with it. I think over time we try to establish it, except you don't know. Maybe we need to do more to show you that we're here to work with you. As we're finding our way, and as you are finding your way, we can do it together as much as possible. So that's really on behalf of the banks. And I'm aware, sir, of our relationship with things like Nigerian Sustainable Banking Principles, etc. I'm aware that other banks are also trying. Cognizant from the top we differ. Every institution is different, right? And yes, they listen to you. You ask that question. Yes, they don't, because if you don't, you're wasting your time. If you are doing brick and mortar banking, see all the fintechs that are backing all the money now, you're wasting your time. You have to listen. You have to embed innovation that youths are coming up with, or at least put an ear down, and add it to what your mature, your experience, and everything you need about to form the ideal business strategy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So I think on a final note, we know that the biggest climate change events globally is the COP event. So I think this year will be COP27. And we're hoping that, from the voices of young people that are going to hear from the entire challenge and climate change and action, we hope that individuals like myself have the opportunity to help us amplify at that level as well. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I just wanted to find out if you just needed maybe 2 more minutes or so. Some of our key speakers have gone to do an interview. So just give us about 2 minutes. So if you have generous time.
Maybe if anybody has more questions, maybe we'll start to take.
Okay. Don't worry.
Sorry, good afternoon. Yeah, my name is Sadiq. I'm a fashion designer. Actually, question is about the climate change. Okay, because I remember then that 10 years ago, when I was in my place, Ijebode. So my grandmother was she wants to cook, So there's something we call a oguso in Yoruba language. So she put that thing on the fire. So she has to blow it before the fire will come out. And there's a lot of smoke on that oguso. So I talked to her. Stop to me, gas, you understand? She said, no, she has been doing this. I'm not shaking it will be back there. And she has been doing it before she gave birth to my dad. Okay, no problem. You can go ahead. You understand? So I now think of it when we're talking about climate change here, because aside from the government, we generally we have a lot to do. Because it's not only her. I mean, I'm talking about the whole country. You understand? So now when you look around now, gas is expensive. Me personally, I don't use gas again. You understand? I'm looking now. Do you get it? Because even electric stove, where is the light? Every time, collapse grid. You understand? So now people are moving from gas to charcoal now. You understand? And if for someone that can afford charcoal, some people use fire, and that consumes a lot too. So how can we put this smoke of it? Even, I mean, let me say it's even the one that affect the climate change more. So how can we tackle it? That's my question.
Okay, let me just repeat that. So when I was doing the presentation, I spoke about. You understand? Using, the waste from either organic waste or other types of waste to generate what we call biogas. Then that biogas acts like the gas that you say is expensive to give you fire to burn. Guess what? We have about that do is pour what you have in your dustbin into that biodigester. It will biodigest it, filter, and you will get gas to cook. Are you getting it? So it kind of creates a cyclical model. Whatever waste you have, from rice, from all those waste, pour it into the biodigester, and it generates biogas for you. Smokeless. The same biogas can now also do light. Yeah. Now with biodigesters, you can biodigest cheap without smoke. You can biodigest human waste. You can biodigest any organic kind of waste. So imagine you're not even paying anything for gas anymore. Just doing is pouring your dustbin into the digester. It gives gas to cook. You cook. With biodigester, you can even grass and put it in biodigester without paying anything.
Second keynote speaker, so I think it's a good time to say a big thank you to our panelists. Please put your hands together for our moderator, Anna Folabi, you report program specialist for Generation Nigeria. A warm round of applause for her. You can tell that she represents the youth, our constituency. And of course, our panelists, please put your hands together for the CEO of A4&T Power Solutions, Mr. Ayodeji Adeyinwa. And finally, for Anna Umoetuk, Sustainability and CSR Manager at the Heineken Company, Nigerian Breweries PLC. A warm round of applause for all three of them. I think they've done justice to the side chat. So if you'd like to return to your seats, thank you very much. I'm sure there will be opportunities for some more pictures. I'm just listening to the fireside chat. I remembered my days working in corporate communications at Nestle Nigeria PLC, and I was very much aware of what Nigeria Breweries was doing in terms of recycling and getting more FMCGs on board. So he's speaking from 5-7 years ago, and recently there was a recycling company that celebrated a 1-year anniversary. And again, I saw Nigerian breweries right there speaking again on the whole recycling. We know that there are lots of packaging that are used for beverages. So it's only a lot of these companies to ensure that they are playing a part in when it comes to. And in fact, interestingly enough, I was working on a documentary on the power sector and just looking at green energy and social solutions, and of course the mini grids that they're working on to ensure that communities are able to be electrified, especially in rural communities. Now I've learned a new one. I wonder why it's till now and it's not becoming something every household will have. I think it's important just listening to everything here to know that at the end of the day, so that market readiness will always be important. And that's why I said earlier on that whether or not you win the $7,500 or the new laptop, it's important that you take this opportunity to make sure that your business is ready for investment, is ready to take on all these funds that are being made available. And I give kudos to Access Bank for having that green bond. I think it says a lot even when the market is already being innovated. And I think we can put our hands up on that. More banks will continue to join in. But at the end of our event, we have a second keynote, and I'm really looking forward to this presentation. I'll introduce our second keynote speaker. He's the chairman as well as the founder of Lekki Urban Forest and Animal Shelter. Please put your hands together for Mr. Desmond Olumuyiwa. They'll be speaking to us about sustainable innovation and remedies to global warming threats. I think we can do better than that.
Okay. Finally, when we started this, or at least when I started it 40 years ago, because of the influence of the late Duke of Wellington, Nigerian conservation and all, we were just like voices in the wilderness. Climate what? And now, we're getting close to a very, very serious situation. Anyway, we need to have net zero transitioning, sustainable innovation, great concepts. However, my dear people, I think you can identify this gentleman here. His name is Antonio Guterres. I think that's how they pronounce it, Guterres. If she was, she would invite us more. The Secretary General of the United Nations. Okay? And what's he saying? Humanity is waging war on them, and it is what? What we are doing is suicidal. That my dear people, a lot more than rights, paramilitary force and fury, biodiversity is collapsing, 1 million species at risk of extinction, ecosystems are disappearing before our eyes, human activities at the root of our descent towards chaos. But that means action and help to solve it, which this is all about. Don't take these words lightly. Humanity is raging and it is suicidal. Say a bit more. A growing tide of pollution which is costing 9 million lives a year because of our lifestyle, because of addiction to poison. 30,000 people in Lagos State alone a year because of addiction to poison. And I took 4 hours, and it goes slow, goes slow, it goes slow. This morning, yeah, because there were petrol queues, I did to poison. He said, we need to change us now and end our senseless and suicidal war against nature. We know what to do, and increasingly we have the tools. We have the tools, the innovation is right here. Right here. This is so encouraging. But we still lack leadership and cooperation. Don't sell your vote to use your PVC. Why? Seriously. This is it. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. Humanity has never ever faced this type of problem before, apart from maybe in the days of Noah. Are you familiar, my dear brother, of the days of Noah? This is it. And he said so. Ask you a question. Ask you a question. The General of the United Nations, they put fools there. This man now, no. Of course not. Secretary of the UN, like me, I've been lucky to be secretary to the Secretary General. The top of the top, the highest of the highest. Yeah, that's what he's talking about, right? Bahamas, boom, bang, boom, just like that. Oh, Mozambique, yeah. For the first time on that coast of Africa, never before had a force of wind without virulence hit the coast, and it just hit it, boom, within hours. So, execution. Kofi Annan said it 20 years ago. 20 years ago, Kofi Annan, yes. Kofi Annan, no. Although our jollof rice is better than Ghana's. Yeah. So the question is, if they're not fools and they're warning us, we're not listening to them, who then is the fool? And we need to get our heads around this. I'm going to have to show a rather shocking picture. Very soon. Very soon. You see, all this just going on. Bam, 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 bam. And this kind of thing. It's certainly towards us. And we're still not trying to, wait until you see Lagos. Yeah, yeah. Oh. Oh. It's yeah. That's my first 20 years ago. About 1.5 kilometers. Right just away. Boom. Oh, there's not a single coconut tree there. Apart from innovative planting that's going on from a young person that's there. Thank God for the young people. Thank God for you guys. You innovative. If we are allowed to go 3 degrees, it's so good. It's so good. In fact, about 3 years ago, nobody was there. Nice guy, tall office. And I said, on the 10th floor, you better be careful because you won't be able to go down to this. Don't do something more innovative. And thank God they are doing stuff now. Yeah. Thank God people have the access to it. Know what we're going to do? We're going to get 3 months. Goza. 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 No, there's. And you see, it's also part of what needs to be done to tackle the real problem. Yeah, definitely the tech has to be. But why are we doing this? The shocking picture. I'm going to move it now because it's generated fuel for us. So when you burn fossil fuel, it emits deadly poison. And yet, knew about this decades ago. When the Industrial Revolution started over 100 years ago, they started burning oil. They started realizing, oh, this is deadly. Hey, no, we gotta look for, no, listen. You know what happened? When the photovoltaic industry started, for space, it was so useful. And you know, I have one of the first solar cells, I think it was about 2.5% efficient. You know what happened? The major oil and gas in America, they bought out the copyright. Hey man, we can allow this, man. These guys gonna get free electricity. Damn, we are going to buy out that stuff. Man. And there was no research on photovoltaics until they had emergency to get oil from the east. And now, boom, they start. If they had allowed the research, I can assure you, by now, you would just have to paint the roof of your house. Just paint, not even tags. And you'll get all the electricity you needed in fantastic kind of batteries. Because you innovated, would have been inspired to do the right thing with clean energy. No. We're making money. Making money with oil and gas. And they've been fighting it and resisting it for a long time. And this is what it does, man. We've got to stop the poison. We've got to do what? Stop the poison. Yeah, and you guys are going to give the alternative. The poison will be stopped in its tracks, man. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. You know? Meditate. Because what's happening with all the wonderful innovations, if we don't get it right in our minds, if we don't have a renewal of our minds, we will continue with the that's getting even more than how it's getting 9 million now. And it's breaking the planetary system. We don't have that system mindset. We have to change. Nature. My dear brothers and sisters, nature obeys mental laws. It's the law of action. They get reaction. No matter what. You know, I mean, you know, because of the plan, and we want to get that. So I'm just going to inspire us to think, okay, how are we going to get things mindset changes? Because that's the that will prevent this thing from walking out. This is not a full year, they give us a warning. It's not too late, it's not too late. You know, that's one thing I love about Nigeria. That's why I have only one passport, the Nigerian passport, even though my mother was the first Nigerian citizenship was British. Yes. And you know why I love Nigerians? Because if you believe that it's an almighty God, say yes, yes, everybody, man. Oh, clap for yourself. Nigeria people, man. And if we believe in that God, then we should believe in nature. We very, very clearly major scriptures. It's all there, my brothers and sisters. It's all there. It's all there. What's so? I know there's an issue of grace, but then if you don't sow a seed of repentance, how is it possible that the most intellectual creature to ever walk the planet is destroyed? And this is where I love for you to get your minds going. What kind of tech skills will be used to type of different attitude? They're there. But it has to be done. It's the only one. We have to change. The technology, use that technology, even the electric cars. Let's face it, by the time you start mining those it's a major problem. I'm so glad that here, and the beautiful thing is we're actually going to make a better world out of it. Yes, we are. And that's what they're saying to us, you know. They're telling us, you know, let's love your neighbor as yourself, love each other. That's what makes the world go round. And I know we have Google, we have Jack. How about the love check? Technology that will trigger on love vibration. What do you mean? You know, if you use light vibrations and you have certain things that are actually the right way with the heart, because it's medical science. The heart actually affects certain levels in the metabolism, which you release certain feel-good chemicals. Unlike the brain does the other, but the heart, you know. So there could be some technologies along there that would help people to reduce their stress, to help people to feel a little bit better, a little bit nicer, a little bit more loving towards each other, you know. Because this is it, folks, this is it. And guess what? They don't have about 10 years old. Yes, but it becomes irreversible. And as great and as well as the tech is fantastic, there's no doubt, absolutely fantastic. I mean, America sent people to the moon. Whoa! But they knew when Hurricane Katrina was going to hit New Orleans. They knew where she was going to strike. And with all that wonderful moon power, they couldn't even, at least they could have diverted the hurricane for a few kilometers or slow it down. They couldn't. They went right in there, man. You can't fight nature. You can walk in harmony with nature. Please use your innovative skills to develop technology that will help us to continue working in harmony with nature and all there anyway, as if you guys didn't know about it. So keep on taxing your intellectual resources, and we shall win this battle. Nigeria shall show the world. Because guess what? We just have an American the kind of mental capacity is there. You know, people that think Nigeria has it all under the ground. Guess what? Nigeria has it between the ears. Yeah. So, my dear young people, thank you. We say God bless. And I'm looking at that. Love. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A round of applause to bring that message home. I really forward to this particular presentation. I mean, someone as the chairman and founder of Lekki Urban Forest and Animal Shelter, that takes us back to many years when we knew what Lekki Beach, we knew it for conservation, we knew it for the swamps, we knew it as a peninsula, not Lekki phase one where sometimes it's done that. I think that was a question that came up that is what I know carry all of us. But thank you so much for all the work that you're doing and for sharing so passionately about how it's a responsibility to save this planet. And I like how you made it very on the point about 10 years. You don't have time. That's a decade. 10 years from now, I mean, you can only squeeze in 2 elections. That's tell you how short the time is. So hopefully by 2032, we won't have you preaching and you're going, talking at our heartstrings to make sure that we listen to this great message. So thank you very much. At this point, we'd like to invite Howard. I know he's always very humble about these things, but the fact is that it takes somebody with the vision. It takes someone that will not just actually put money where their mouth is to ensure that this vision comes to life and becomes a reality. It's important that somebody does the work and then gets others to join. And then I will introduce him. He is the founder of EkoInnovation Center where we are. And of course, he is the curator of the Art of Technology Lagos. And he has told us why EkoClimathon has happened for those who us if we ask you to have the playback available online. But I know it is a vote of thanks, give everything to a good close and really give us that energy and encouragement to keep up the good work that we're all doing in the green space. So, ladies and gentlemen, once more, please put your hands together, Mr. Victor.
Thank you so much for doing such good work. I think I won't say a round of applause. All of us have to do ourselves good, am I right? Yeah. I mean, it's fun. I've never seen someone talk about something so serious, something so technical, something that can be very boring. You know, it's not delegate sharing money, so it's boring. Can we give you 3 boosters, eh? We need to spend some time with him. Exciting. If he preaches, everybody will want to go to heaven. Because if heaven's going to look fun, eh? I mean, I felt good. I felt good. Not in a long while. I've not heard something so serious presented in such a fun, loving way. And you understood his audience. I mean, I was talking to Celine earlier today. I said, with young people, with the old school, we need to find new ways of engaging them. Okay, and that's why there's no podium. It's not that we forgot, so we couldn't afford it. Young people don't like podium. They switch off. They reminds them of lecture rooms and all their boring lecturers, so they switch off. But when there's no problem, they say, yes, now we can really. I want to thank you to everyone. Okay? Big thank you. We said a bit behind schedule 10:45, but hey, I was hoping we'd be out of here before 1 p.m. and yes, we're out of here before 1 p.m. Thank you so much. For believing in this was a unique power to make this happen. And represented by the boss of the boss, everyone giving once a thank you. And I got to say, and yourself, thank you for doing this. Okay? For my wonderful guests, thank you. And the Nigerian music, it's a huge. I mean, when we have big organizations demonstrate, and it's not in the size of what we've done, we're conscious and we're taking steps. There's nothing as wonderful as that. It's hard to work. Okay. Thank you. Access guy. We will come back to Conquerors, and we're happy you're doing something. Fixing roads, building things, and it's no measure that get the top leading back. I mean, I don't know the parameters, whether it's asset or whatever it is, or balance sheet, but either way, you're changing the world, they're creating impact. So even if the numbers is a big parameter, that doesn't make it money. The impact you're creating with young people, with women, and all the things you do to make our community more livable and improve inclusiveness in our society. We're saying a big thank you. We'll make sure we formalize this thank you in a wonderful way. So that you know that we know we're impact. It's not like thank you so much. It took the pain to get all of us on board to understand what it is. It's the prop we have, okay? And I like to go with the prop so that we all are on the same page. Thank you very, very much. We couldn't thank you enough. Well, he's the chief evangelist of climate change. He's the thank you very much, Thank you very much. Sorry, Mr. Akim, thank you so much. He's the principal manager, agribusiness credit guarantee and portfolio management, Nassau. I'm sure we know that Nassau does a lot. And talking about the agri, it was here. Agriculture is one of the pivotal areas where we think that there is significant impact to the whole climate change conversation, and we need to see Nassau begin to promote a lot of activities that will help them this. You have the money, you have the federal banks backing, you have the ability to write those guarantees. So let the guarantees not be for people processing. Let's go back to preserving the earth. Let's write those guarantees for people that are improving our world and improving our processes. We think they need guarantees also. Don't you think so? Yeah, because when the funds go to people, we'll do a lot of work in there. Thank you so much. And of course, to everybody, the participants who are there, the people also be here in his own line of just reaching now to confirm. Yes, boss. Oh, can we write to us? We can't end this with him. He comes with all and the might to speak to because for the first time, Lagos State has a special advisor in innovation and technology. And this young man has done tremendous work. And he's part of the brain behind things that we're doing. He's a major brain behind it, working in many young people, in major research. And he but he had a very important assignment. I was another meeting that had to do with new technology and working with young people. But he had some words he needs to share. After that, I go to the school and we just came with this speech and we really want to close. Yes, and that's the moment the special advisor to the executive governor of Lagos State on innovation and technology. Like I said, this is a major innovation also from his office, and he will say a few words and everything. We didn't talk about easy, but there's just so many opportunities and these are two also and he just thank you very much for being here and coming here. His mic.
Can you say it? Can you speak?
His mic.
Hello, can you hear me? I hope someone can hear me. Okay, great. Thank you very much for having me. Thanks for the introduction, Victor. Good afternoon. My name is Subosun Alaki. I'm special advisor on technology to the governor. And it's great to be here with you virtually. I was there physically, but we had some engagements that we just couldn't cancel. But it was very important for me to really be here and to support this very important step within the innovation ecosystem. And that is really tackling an existential threat to all of us, which is climate change. We are all kind of familiar with some of the issues around climate change. The entire world is galvanizing behind the Paris Agreement. We have all agreed to reduce at least temperatures by 1.5 degrees centigrade. A lot of technology in carbon capture. But we know that exists between the developed and the developing world. There are a lot of inequities in terms of energy policy, in terms of energy independence and energy access. And all of these might bring mixed results to the climate conversation, right? But there are common strand that might be able to help us achieve this, and it's innovation. We have seen a lot of advances in innovation, especially in the area of green energy and renewables. Over the past couple of years, we have seen advancements in solar and wind. Between 2010 and 2021, solar photovoltaic prices have reduced by almost 89%. Onshore wind energy has also reduced by more than 50%. And so we see the advances in technology that are helping to drive the emission reduction conversation. And I believe that only advances in technology will be able to help us to achieve our climate goals. No other kind of no other kind of strategy would enable us, because of the inequities that exist between nations. Some nations are developing, they need to ramp up their energy needs. 80% of energy consumption across the globe is still provided by fossil fuels, right? And for people to be able to get access to energy, fossil fuels still remain the most viable option for most countries across the globe. We even see now geopolitical issues in Eastern Europe are even causing Europe to get back on the fossil fuel conversation. And so some of these unpredictabilities within the market, some of the changing legal frameworks might cause threats to our primary goals. But technology and innovation that can move the climate conversation in the right direction. And so when we look at advances in storage technology, these are conversations, these are research projects, these are technologies that can help us drive our transition to sustainable sources, to much more renewable resources. Advances in battery storage technology, advances in direct carbon capture equipment, advances in even really untapped areas like nuclear fusion. These are promises, these are things that not only can provide light at the end of the tunnel, but can actually change legal frameworks across different jurisdictions. Quite aware that technology can change policy. And this is our hope at the Office of Innovation and Technology. We believe technology can drive the kinds of policy change that we need, both in the developed and in the developing world. And that's why through our office we support a number of R&D projects across 4 major universities in Lagos, in Unilag, the Yaba College of Technology, LASCO and of course the newly christened Lagos State University of Science and Technology, and of course LASCO as well. Research projects in health, research projects in energy, research projects in circular and sustainability. We believe innovation and science and technology are really the tools that can get us in a positive, can get us on the positive side of this climate conversation. And so events like this EkoClimathon are right smack in the strategy of trying to drive the climate conversation in a positive route. So we are extremely enthused to support this initiative, and we will continue to try and drive the conversation and help drive research on the technologies that will get us to our climate goals. So I want to thank you, everybody, for giving me just a short time to speak on this. And I hope all of the participants and applicants of Climate Hackathon great success. We are rooting for you. We need you in this ecosystem. Thank you very much.
For a big thank you, giving you a warm round of applause for that very succinct presentation. Was saying about last week, that's the Lagos State Research and Innovation Council. There is money for people in this space. When you spoke about the circular economy, sustainability, I have been there. I've seen Mr. Governor present checks running into millions to support development, to support tech. So this one it reaches you, or how do we say, it touches you. So make sure when the call for applications come out that you're able to get access to that funding. Big thank you once again to Mr. Tubosun Alake, advisor to the governor of Lagos State on innovation and technology. And on that note, I say a big thank you to every single person here. I mean, Mr. Falabi has done this. In fact, I thought he was taking over my job. The way he was, everyone so eloquently and so beautifully. So thank you to all our invited guests, our sponsors, our partners, the participants, and everyone who joined us virtually, and of course our representative from government. My name is Isabella Adediji, and it's been my pleasure being your host this morning and now afternoon. And I've tried my possible best to be your accurate timekeeper. I think we have time for lunch. Thank you for your participation, your engagement, and of course, giving yourselves a round of applause. And I think we can all give us a round of applause for staying back to the very end and really contributing. Do have a good afternoon. We'll ask that you just remain on your seats. We do have refreshments that are waiting for you, so please just remain on your seat till you get your refreshments, and then I'll hand over to the paparazzi in case there are any more pictures that will be taken on stage. For that to happen again, we'd like for our ushers to help with the branded backdrop again. Let's have some of that green energy on stage, and we'll have some pictures taken.
Interviews will happen downstairs. There's a video downstairs. The pressmen will just head down there. So pressmen and the paparazzis, let's have everything on the green carpet. So everything's up on the green carpet. Once you take your meal, pressmen, I think we should start with the press people. Let's give them all their packages, then they go to the green carpet, and then we can have all our dignitaries access by Nigerian breweries, and then we can have all of them speak to the press, and then we can get them for reportage. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You have it. And others can just see about the press people.
Thank you very much. Thank you to our attendees. The event is over, but I'm sure in a couple of weeks we'll see who goes home with that $7,500 and of course the new laptops. The journey continues, or I should say, the hackathon continues.
What I said, they are no longer 80 years. They don't want as they are coming, they are not going to do that. They are not going to do that. How many do we have? How many are they giving? They should bring them. I hope they are not. I have another meeting.
How many police? Yes. Yes. I want to eat now.